Kedem, co-founder and CEO of Zerto, and I'm excited to be here. This is our largest show by far, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time. I know you all have busy schedules. Thank you for taking the time to come and learn more about Zerto, what we do, and what we will do. This ongoing support of Zerto is highly appreciated. And I want to extend a special thanks to our sponsors. You make this possible. Please thank our sponsors. And with a special thank you for Microsoft for their global sponsorships, to IBM for their platinum sponsorship, and for Island with their lab sponsorship, which many of you have visited these labs. Thank you. Our theme for this year is resilient and ready. I'm sure you've heard that during that conference. You'll hear it a lot. You'll hear it many more times from me on stage here. Why is that important to be resilient and ready? I think this is a must. In this age of transformation, this age of disruption, this is a must. And this is an exciting time. And we are proud in Zerto to work with all of you as you build your IT strategy, as you build your business strategies. And we are committed to make you resilient and ready to face both the challenges you have today, but also the challenges you will have in the future. Today, I want to share with you some of the trends that we are seeing, some customer stories that we hear. I want to discuss what happened last year, both in Zerto and in the world. And I want to explore digital transformation, IT resilience, the journey to the cloud, and very important, how Zerto plans to address and help you in these needs. So let's talk about last year, and I'll start with Zerto. Last year was a fascinating year, both for Zerto and for the world. But internally, let's start. We have two very important additions to our team in the last year. One is our Chief Revenue Officer, Ed Carter. Ed, can you? And the other one is our first CIO. Zerto is also becoming a company that needs a CIO, Avi Reichel. They are both here in the conference, and you can take a few minutes to talk to them. I'm sure you'll find a lot in common and a lot of things that are interesting to talk, so take advantage of them being here. We've had a great year in Zerto. The business has been growing, and we have been continuously innovating. We've added last year analytics to really give you the ability to get visibility into your IT, your resilience. We have significantly improved our cloud agility offering, both for managed clouds, or cloud service providers, and for public clouds. And we've improved on many things like scale, improved recoverability, and single file recovery for Linux, which a lot of you asked for. And of course, many more features, and you will hear about what we've done and our plans to innovate throughout this conference, and how these innovations help you tackle, as I said, both today's needs and the future ones. So let's look at our customers. What do our customers do? What are they doing with Zerto? So obviously, protection, business continuity, disaster recovery, that's been as strong as ever. This is not going away anywhere. But we are starting to see more and more customers taking Zerto and doing things beyond disaster recovery. For example, the first obvious thing is the move to the cloud. And we're seeing customers using Zerto in very innovative ways to go and move more applications, more workloads into the cloud. They simplify their IT, they drive efficiencies, and they get more value from that. Another important trend that we see, and we see that across almost every customer we talk to, is that all the applications are starting to become critical. You don't just have the old school mission critical, because now your customers have very different expectations from you. So basically, if you run an application, and I'm talking about production applications, of course, if your application is not important enough to be protected, it's probably not important enough to run anyway. So we are definitely seeing that the deployments get larger within the customers because you need to protect more of your workloads. And then another trend, just today in the meetings, I had 3 meetings, all went through this, is mergers and acquisitions. Everyone is either buying someone or getting bought. But it's really this eat or be eaten. And once you've made this acquisition, the first thing that comes to mind is cost optimization. So this really drives a lot of data center consolidations, data center migrations. We've seen unprecedented amount of these. And this creates new needs, both in how quickly to get it done, and you know what is usually the business requirement. We need it yesterday. And also in mitigate the risk, which of course also there you know the requirement. No risk. So we're really seeing more and more customers using Zerto for these things to get these quick and safe migrations. So these 3 trends together that we're seeing, cloud, business critical, and mergers and acquisitions, we're seeing them drive a lot of customers and drive very successful business. So thank you everyone for making this a great year for Zerto, and we're looking forward to making it another great year here in 2018. So we're seeing enterprises around the world that really work with these things, with Zerto, as they build their future IT infrastructure. Something else that was critical in 2017 was the ecosystem. That was a great year for us on building the ecosystem. We have been growing both new partners that joined, as well as existing partners where we have created a much deeper partnerships. So just recently, we've announced a co-sell relationship with Microsoft. We're building together advanced multi-cloud and application mobility with them. We really share a vision of a true hybrid cloud with Microsoft. And this partnership has already earned the Microsoft Gold partner status. IBM, this one, that was a big year also for IBM this year. And we have seen IBM create more and more offerings with Zerto. Zerto is playing a key role in many of these new offerings. So for example, we are becoming the de facto standard for disaster recovery in the IBM cloud. And just in a recent announcement with IBM Resilience Services, Zerto is going to become the underlying platform for the IBM Resiliency Orchestration solution. So great year also with IBM. HPE, we have just announced in the spring, we have joined HPE Complete. What does that mean? That means that customers can buy from HPE or from the HPE resellers. They can buy a complete solution with Zerto, an end-to-end validated solution with Zerto. And the newest addition to our partnership is SunGard Availability Services. They are using Zerto, and we are partnering on building together their cloud service and really using Zerto for the protection and for resilience. So it's a great new addition, but let's not forget a very critical part of our ecosystem, the cloud service providers. Our cloud ecosystem has been growing very quickly. Again, both the existing service providers that are growing every year and growing quickly, as well as new service providers that signed. With more than 350 cloud service providers, Zerto is becoming the underlying technology for many of the world's top-tier cloud providers. And what is our focus? Our focus is making it easier for them and their customers to work with us. They can really provide each customer a very tailored solution that fits the customer's need, and that is working. We're actually seeing great results there. They are growing their customer base, they are growing the depth of their services, and we're starting to see larger and larger deployments. Larger enterprises, Fortune 500s, we're starting to see more and more deployments well above 1,000 virtual machines per customer in these cloud providers. So it is all these partners. We are a very partner-centered company that make us successful, and we're proud to be chosen by them every day. Because every one of you customers, you have your unique environments, you have your unique needs. And we are committed to giving you the flexibility to integrate with us and our partners in the way that best solves your business needs. So just note, many of these partners are exhibiting here in the hall behind us. So please take a few minutes during this conference to visit them, hear about their solutions, and hear how they can help you create a better business, build a better IT. So now let's talk a little bit about 2017 in the world. That was a disruptive year. And we've seen good disruptions and bad disruptions, planned disruptions and unplanned disruptions. So very exciting year in the world. And I would like to start with the bad ones. And the first bad type of disruption that comes to mind is, of course, natural disasters. That was a crazy year for natural disasters. I mean, it was probably the all-time high for natural disasters, at least since it has started to be recorded. 710 catastrophes around the world, natural catastrophes alone. It's also been a very expensive year. These catastrophes are not cheap. In the US alone, they cost $306 billion. That is a lot. And even in Zerto, we have seen some of our own employees being affected by that. And some in the hurricanes in the south, some in the fires we had in the west coast. What I am proud of these employees is that they stepped up, they helped their communities, and we're proud of Zerto. These are actually Zerto employees. For these people, resilience took a very personal need, much beyond technology. And this is, for me, this is great because this is woven in the DNA of the Zerto family. And also, as a company, we did our own small part to help. We launched an initiative with the Red Cross, where with our employees, with our partners, where we basically match donations for the Red Cross. And I'm proud to say that we have been able to raise several thousands of dollars to really help the people who are hit by these disasters. I want to thank our employees and thank our partners who participate in that effort. But I also want to take this one step further. I want to ask each and every one of you to join forces with us and help the Red Cross just a little bit more. Because they bring relief to the people around the world. And you don't have to go and volunteer and go into war zones or anything like that. That is not the ask. I'm asking something much more simple. I'm asking you to tweet. During the conference, anyone who tweets this hashtag JoinTheResilience, Zerto is donating another $5 for the Red Cross. So if each and every one of you will take out their phone, not now, by the way, please, but I'm sure you will find a time for a tweet. By the way, you can tweet more than once. Take a moment, tweet that, not a very long hashtag, and I'm sure it will make you feel good. It will also make someone else in the world feel good. So natural disasters, that's a big thing, and we're hearing about them all the time. But it's not everything. There are more threats, I would say more sinister threats that we are starting to feel, and we also hear that from almost everyone. And you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about these cyber attacks. It's starting to become a cliche, right? It's not if you will be attacked. It is when you will be attacked. Everyone gets attacked. Ransomware is growing. It's probably the best business around there. They've grown 250% in 2017. The damage is going to reach $11.5 billion by 2019. And every 14 seconds, a business gets attacked. This is a lot. Every 14 seconds, that means that very likely in the next couple of weeks, someone in this audience will have their company attacked. And everyone is starting to talk about it. I mean, WannaCry is becoming mainstream. I was doing my taxes. I gave it to the accountant. He was like, well, I got this ransomware ask. What do I do? I said, well, hopefully you don't have my data on there. So we're seeing some companies do it, right? And I always like to hear these examples, some of these war stories. So I want to share with you a healthcare customer. They had a good time. They went camping. And that is textbook, right? I mean, these things never happen. You don't sit at your desk 9 a.m. everyone ready, had your morning coffee, and now you have to do these things. No, they went camping, and as soon as they were there, their dental X-ray applications got attacked by a ransomware. So this is bad, but not really, because they were protected. Do you know what their biggest challenge was? Finding an internet connection. Once they actually got a reliable internet connection, it took them less than 10 minutes to be up and running. And once the company was up and running, this IT manager could go back to actually enjoying camping with his family. And we hear these stories all the time. I heard from Jason in Adams Bank and Trust, how they got attacked twice and recovered in no time. We have a customer here, ClearPass Mutual, used to be called Kessa. They had a very interesting, because they got attacked just before they had a company boat trip. Now, you know how important customer data and everything, but you do not want to miss the company outing. So really, less than 30 minutes, everything was up and running, and really didn't need to worry about it. Didn't even have to make the boat wait. So this is great. We love being able to help there. And I love hearing these customer stories time after time, how they're not worried. They're not even thinking about paying this ransom. Because they know, they are confident, they know they will be able to recover, they know they will be able to recover quickly. And at least that's one thing that we know that they are not worried about. But of course, you know, natural disasters, cyber disruptions, these are two main things. These are two things that we hear about a lot. But these are not the only thing. It never ends. I mean, just every time I think I heard everything, there are a million different cases. You hear about it. I remember hearing from a customer, they actually had a water pipe explode in their street. Now, I'm sure many of you are thinking, what, a water pipe explodes in the street, takes them down? They're not really protected? That didn't take them down. However, when the municipal authorities came to fix that, they dug out all the cables leading to the data center, and then they really lost the data center. So it will never end. And you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for disasters you know about, but you also need to be prepared for these things that you don't know about. So how can you do it? Very simple. Be resilient. Be ready. But these were all about more of the bad disasters, bad disruptions. Not all disruptions are bad. We're actually seeing some very good disruptions. This is coming from technology disruptions, new technology, innovation, things that make our life simpler. And I'm talking about digital transformation. Digital transformation is here. Every one of your companies is going through some form of digital transformation. It is driving business transformation. It is driving IT transformation. And it is happening everywhere. We all have to transform our businesses. I mean, estimates are that 40% of the technology spending in the world is going on things related to digital transformation. Now, that is $2 trillion by 2019. That is a lot, and that is a big focus, and we all need to do it. Why? Because it creates a very virtuous cycle, right? You get superior technology. This drives innovation. This innovation creates a better customer experience. But what is the next thing after this great customer experience? Customer expectations. They want more, and then you need to innovate further, right? So it is great. It pushes us forward, creates a better technology, better customer experience, and continues to drive us forward. But it also can create its own disruptions, right? So just a few years ago, if you want to look at customer expectations, only a few years ago, when you had a consumer application and you could access it from the web, that was wow. I can access it from anywhere from the web. Like, I don't need to be inside the store or something. I mean, today, anyone is thinking about doing anything to consumers that doesn't have both iPhone and Android support? Don't think so. So again, this is a great thing, but it can also be very demanding. And being demanding means that it requires change for you guys. It requires you to create agility. You need new architectures. You need private clouds, public clouds, managed clouds, hybrid clouds. Things like infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service, containers, serverless. You need these new technologies to continue to drive everything. It lets us be better. It lets us innovate, create better products, push the world forward. But it also, if we want to be honest, it creates a disruption to the business. So how do we survive all of this disruption, all of this digital transformation? Or better yet, how do we thrive in this world of transformations, good and bad? You can guess the answer. Be resilient, be ready. You want to build your IT to be resilient. And in a few minutes, we will have a few customers that will tell you about their journey of making their IT more resilient and how they did it with Zerto. So how do we define IT resilience in Zerto? We define it as the ability to seamlessly adapt to new technology and drive IT transformation while mitigating the risk of downtime, ensuring an always-on business and the best customer experience. This is important, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how customers are doing around that. For example, did you know that 91% of the customers had a technology disruption over the last 2 years? So ask me, how do I know that? And the answer is, Zerto has sponsored a survey with IDC. IDC went and did an annual State of IT Resilience report. And I'm glad to say that in next month, we are going to be sharing the first annual survey results with you. Why did we do it? We want to get a pulse on how resilient businesses are.
I told you not to call me.
We want to learn about your strategies and priorities.
Stop calling me. I'm in the middle of a keynote. You can reboot the server.
Talk to companies around the world, not Zerto customers.
I'm in the middle of a keynote.
Would you shut up? Various industries, to get the complete picture.
Hey, Greg. Oh, sorry.
So the first thing we found,
I need to go.
No one likes
disruption. Do I need to go?
Thank you, Jamie. Let's get serious. Let's look at some numbers from this report. So first thing, we talked about technology disruptions. Let's look at these ones. So if 91% experienced these technology-related outages, what have we found when we talk to these 91%? For them, it happens. It actually happens often. And it costs them. It costs them in productivity. It costs them direct revenue. And it costs them in brand and reputation. You work so hard to build your company's brand and reputation. So easy to lose. Now let's talk about the cyber part, cyber attacks. So 80% reported that they experienced malicious attacks. Out of these 80%, we've seen that some have been attacked many times. We have seen that they were breached. And I actually don't believe this 93% number. I think 93% said that they were breached. 7% were lying, like, we breached? No, someone else who doesn't know how to protect their stuff. Everyone gets breached. Many of them even got breached many times. And it costs them. They lose data, and not always they can recover that. So state of IT resilience, not as good as we would want it to be. Now let's talk about the good type of disruptions, where you disrupt to actually create something good, to create something new. So 85% of the respondents of the survey said that they experienced a business-related disruption, right? So some of them, it was by competitors. Some of them, it was by new technologies that came into their markets. And some of them, it was actually by new business models that came into the market. The world is going through these changes, and this is just a sample of the world. But very important, did you know only 7.3% felt that they have a truly resilient IT infrastructure? Only 7.3% were feeling that they are ready for the future. I'm seeing some of the smiling faces here. I know that you know that it's difficult, right? And this is something that really aligns well with what we see with our customers. They want to transform. They need to transform. You want to know how to transform. So transformation, this transformation is important, this digital business, IT transformation. And why? As we said, number one reason, user expectations. Your users expect more from you than they expected 10 years ago. That means tight SLAs. That means a digital world. That means an always-on experience. This forces you to create new business models. And for that, you need the right set of tools, right? You need to address cloud. You need to handle the complexity involved with cloud. You want to enable your organization. You want to enable your organization to grow, to innovate, to create these new things as the technology landscape continues to transform. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the cloud. We're lucky in Zerto. We work with a lot of customers. We talk about cloud to a lot of customers. I say that we have a front row seat to see how the world is embracing cloud. We see it in different sizes of companies. We see it in different industries. And what is the first thing that we see? There is a disconnect between management and IT in how advanced your cloud strategy is. Right? I mean, I go and talk to CEOs. They're like, we have already fully embraced cloud. Talk to IT, very different answer. And you know why it is, right? There are many challenges. These cloud skills are at a premium. They're difficult to find. And you need more things than you can get. So in almost every case, the cloud that IT really knows where it is not as advanced as where management thinks it is. So what is the reality when we talk to customers about cloud? Really, usually I hear 3, 4, 5 years. Customers want to move 50, 60, 70% of their infrastructure to the cloud. However, very rare to find a customer that actually knows how they want to do it. But almost everyone has a cloud strategy. Almost everyone knows that they are underutilizing the cloud. Some are going to these unmanaged public clouds. Some actually prefer the more hand-holding, the more familiar feel of the managed clouds. Almost everyone is talking hybrid clouds, multi-clouds. Why? First, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So we're seeing Zerto users adopting cloud very heavily. We are seeing them going to Azure, to Amazon, to IBM, to our 350 cloud service providers. They get visibility to their applications. They get a visibility to their data. And they have the power to control where they reside today. And if tomorrow they want to change it, they have the power to move that. And sometimes that gets important because of external factors. So a great example I've seen was an NFL team. And they were pretty well protected. They had 2 data centers protecting between these 2 data centers. Guess what? There was a storm prediction. Both data centers were in the storm path, right? So now it's not as nice as it sounds. What did they do? They went to the cloud. In a few days, they had everything up and running in the cloud. And that is the beauty of the cloud. Less than a week, everything running, everything synchronized, everything protected in the cloud. So this is not the end of what we are doing in the cloud. And every year, we are thinking about new workloads. I know that you guys are looking at new workloads in the cloud. Each one has their own needs and different things that they need. You customers are starting to use more of this cloud, and Zerto is committed to supporting it. In my eyes, we have just started our cloud journey. So I want to talk a little bit about Microsoft and Azure. In August, we announced the ability to go in and out of Azure. Naturally, this drove Azure adoption significantly. More than 200% growth in 6 months. This is starting to hockey stick there. And obviously, that created a very strong partnership between Zerto and Microsoft, because we share the vision of a true hybrid cloud. So to talk a little bit about that vision and how it works, I want to invite Mike Torti, Senior Director of Enterprise Partners at Microsoft, together with our VP of Americas, Coley Berg, to talk about their experience.
Great. Thank you, Ziv. Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the partnership, and thanks for the sponsorship.
I love that stat right there. 200% growth. Love it.
Those are great stats.
Great, yeah.
So first of all, before we get started, I'd love to thank all of the people, the customers, our partners, our sponsors for coming. It's amazing to see Zerto Nation out there in strong fashion. So Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role and what are the focus areas for Microsoft Azure this year?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I've got a unique privilege. I manage a team, our entire partner channel for the U.S., Americas. And so our job, right, is working with great partners like Zerto to help you go to market and then go build that co-sell opportunity at the field and delight our customers with the solutions and values we can provide.
Yeah, that's excellent, and it's certainly been working really well. We appreciate the partnership, and as we go out and we look at how we sell with you and your sellers, we're certainly helping you figure out how you take advantage of cloud, delight our customers, and deliver that customer experience. So what do you see as the top use cases for Azure that we're talking about with our customers?
Yeah, I think, the customers here in the audience, I think we're observing, we're moving beyond, our customers are moving beyond backup. And this SLAs that we're managing today are getting tighter and tighter. Our recovery time, our recovery point time, the RTOs and the RPOs that we're managing today are ever demanding. And so when we see the value, right, our ability to execute and our customers to execute against those service levels, right, there's a tremendous cost and value, right, in savings when you think about downtime or data downtime. And for us, the work we're doing with Zerto and that replication to become in and out of Azure, when you think about your business use cases, seems to be a great first step that we're seeing in our partnership and that cloud journey with our customers.
Yeah, great. We certainly see the ability to put the first workload into Azure, take advantage of that and help. And it sounds like also you talk a lot about being resilient and ready in there. So
absolutely.
What are your views on the hybrid and multi-cloud strategies and how we're seeing that play out in the market?
Yeah, I'll take, a worldview and then obviously Microsoft's view. Obviously we've worked really hard in both use cases. We've committed around hybrid and what hybrid means. It's a choice. It's not all or nothing. And I think Microsoft has worked really hard with our customers to make sure that there's a common identity. We provide an integrated management and security platform, a common data set in the business, and a unified platform. From a development. And so when we think about hybrid, if you look at today, we're seeing a lot more use cases of the on-premise deployment now moving to hybrid. And so the combination of Azure plus Azure Stack, which we're seeing in these organizations, is helping accelerate that adoption and providing more agility for our customers. In regards to multi-cloud, what customer is going to go and vet on one cloud? Obviously, we feel like we're doing a lot of great work, but we have to realize each customer example and scenario is unique. So we've worked really hard, right, to provide our customers with a common platform to manage that, secure it, whether it's on Microsoft you're managing from a hybrid perspective or Linux and open source. And so we're committed both to the hybrid cloud as an organization, but also in the multi-cloud usage to make sure that our customers have the tools they need to be successful.
Yeah, and that's the big key as we look at it when we work with you in the field and with our customers, giving that choice and flexibility to place your data where it makes the most sense to drive innovation. Those are powerful between the hybrid and multi-cloud. So final question.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about IT resilience and what we're doing there. Now we're talking about the convergence of classic BCDR and backup. What are your thoughts on that? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're, from a customer perspective, the ability to manage and protect for those, what we call those unplanned disruptions that happen in your environment, the ransomware we talked about it, the security disruptions in outages, but also how do you plan for the planned disruptions? And within that, we see a tremendous value and growth opportunity for our customers. And I think where we're seeing the next step and we're excited about this partnership is really now the ability for our customers today to get into more of a proactive versus reactive stance on how they manage that environment, and then the convergence of what we're seeing from a disaster recovery, backup, and cloud mobility, and giving those customers that unified solution approach to that gives them the agility and I think the value that we're excited about this partnership, and hopefully the value will be delivered through our customers.
Yeah, that was well said. That was a spot-on answer for us. That's why the partnership works. So thank you for helping us coming out today and for sponsorship. And we're ready to go resilient and ready with Microsoft this year. So
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks, everyone out here. Thank you.
So now I want to talk about the transformation that you are doing. Transformation in your business model. Transformation in your customers. I want to talk about the change it is driving and the expectations from your IT to deliver on that. Because there are more and more expectations from you to deliver on that transformation. But let's start with the drivers. Why are we driving this change? So the first reason, the number one reason, revenue and profitability, right? You all have businesses. What does a business have to do? Generate revenue and be profitable. And new technologies are changing your markets. That creates new competition. You want to evolve. You want to transform because you want to innovate, to differentiate, to stay ahead of this competition. You want to drive business value and drive business success from that. The second driver, as we mentioned, customer experience. Higher than ever, and if you want to succeed, you have to deliver a superior customer experience. And that is amazing to see the change in the role IT plays in that. IT is no longer in the backseat waiting for the business. IT is out in the front, delivering the customers the experience that your business wants to deliver for them. And then last but not least is the time. It's not just delivering this experience. You need to deliver it now. You need to deliver it in a fast manner. You need to be nimble. You need to get there faster. You need to innovate. You want to unlock these revenue streams that are being made possible by these new technologies. And for this, all our customers need to transform. And technology enables this transformation. So there is no question, we want profitability, customer experience, speed to market. We want to drive this transformation. But guess what? It is not as easy as it sounds when I just put it on a slide like there. Budgets are always tight. Talent is always limited. And very difficult to get the right amount of resources. I don't know how many of you told me, look, my IT budget doubled over the last couple of years. Usually it's okay, how do I get more with less? But these things are everyday life for IT. Let's talk about some of the specific challenges for this digital transformation. So the first one, not surprising, SLAs. They are tight, and they are getting tighter. Why? Your customers have zero tolerance for downtime. No downtime is accepted. And that is true across industries. It is true across types of customers. It doesn't matter. I can be a shopper online. I'm shopping in my store. I can be a doctor in a hospital. I can be an executive in a bank. Doesn't matter. I'm a customer. I'm entitled to an always-on experience. And with what we've talked about before, with almost all production applications becoming business critical, this means tight SLAs across a wide range of applications. And of course, if you want to be successful there, you cannot do it with the legacy systems you have. You cannot do it with the legacy processes that you have. Your team needs to be focused on generating business, not on hand-holding the infrastructure. It has to be something that they cannot do with what they have today. And to make matters worse is complexity. You modernize, you need agility, you want to manage your data, you want to control the cost, but it is getting complex. You need to adopt the different cloud models. It is critical for you to have that if you want to drive the efficiencies that are expected from you, the efficiencies that you need to be successful. You need to be able to move into, out of, and between clouds, and you need to do it effectively. So I'm sure all of your customers are not surprised by this because you go through this every day. But I would like to invite 3 of our customers. Michael Gates, he's our IT infrastructure manager in Bain Capital. Bill Lavigne, he's the director of cloud recovery in McKesson. And Greg Gatti is the vice president of IT for the Atlanta Braves to talk with Gil Levoni and tell us about their experience.
Thank you, Ziv. Thank you all for coming here. Let's start with a quick question, just like introduce a little bit yourself, your organization that you work for, and what's the context of you working with Zerto, how long, etc. Let's start with you. I think you have the double whammy there.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Mike Gates. I am the infrastructure manager for Bain Capital. I've been a Zerto customer for around a year now. I'm actually a 2-time customer, so prior to coming to Bain in early January, I was at a Liberty Mutual, which also had Zerto as a platform. So so at Bain, we're a global company with data centers around the world. We need to replicate those systems to and from data centers, and our last platform had a high operational cost. We always had to give it care and feeding. So any platform that we choose in the future needs to be able to kind of set it and forget it. We do run a very lean team, so for us, that was our #1 priority when looking for a new platform.
Right. Bill, I think you're converging a lot of the things that Ziv is talking about clouds here.
Bill Lavigne, work for McKesson in an organization we call ourselves Business Continuity Services, and we're a center of competency for McKesson globally for all things to do with business continuity, disaster recovery. We report into the Information Security and Risk Management Group, so we have a lot of friends in the security, cyber area that we work with, and we have been Zerto customers for 4+ years. We're very much cloud adopters at McKesson. We built out a very large private cloud implementation for all our business units to take advantage of cloud computing in a private mode. We were using Zerto to protect it between data centers on the East Coast and the West Coast, and we were also using it as a migration tool to help customers get their workloads onto our private cloud. And just as we kind of got peak with that at something in the area of 8,000 virtual machines in our private cloud, we decided to go public cloud. So now we're winding down private cloud. It's going to reduce by 2/3, and Microsoft Azure is our preferred public cloud destination for a lot of workloads. The good news with Zerto is we can use Zerto again, reuse, for disaster recovery. We can use it for migrations to Azure, and we've set up infrastructure. We've got workloads protected globally, United States, Canada, Europe, multi-Azure regions. So we've got a lot of experience in setting up an Azure and running a DR program.
Thanks. Greg, your use of Zerto started from a real business transformation, correct?
Yeah, right. So good afternoon. I'm Greg Gatti. I'm the CIO for the Braves. So some of you may know we opened a new stadium last year at SunTrust Park. But it was not just a stadium. We also have a 1.5 million square foot mixed use development. So retail, residential, office park, a 4,000 seat music venue, and a hotel. So a real live, work, play environment. So our business transformed, dramatically. So we went from just being a professional sports team to we're also developers, we're landlords, we're a digital marketing company, and I think in our spare time we're going to get in 81 baseball games this year. So, in fact, we're looking forward to playing the Red Sox here at Fenway on Friday, for those of you who are local. Hopefully we'll leave with a win, but in any case, we consider ourselves very forward-thinking from a professional sports IT standpoint. So we were the first team in Major League Baseball to adopt the cloud. We were the first on Office 365 and to leverage Azure as an application platform. And then, of course, we had to migrate our data center, and then now our business has some high expectations as far as uptime, given what we have at stake. So Zerto is a very important part of that. So not only from a disaster recovery standpoint, a real critical tool for us from that standpoint, but also since we're a hybrid environment, we have a lot in our data center, but we have a lot in the cloud, we definitely rely on Zerto from that standpoint as well.
Great. You heard Ziv talk about the change in SLAs, the change in customer expectations, the change in how, there's no tolerance for downtime or data loss anymore. How do you see those changes in your businesses? Greg, maybe let's start with you, then go the other way around.
Yeah, business expectations have changed dramatically. I remember, didn't seem like a few years ago where if, we had an RTO of a couple of days and an RPO of some reasonable number of hours, I was going to get a high five from my boss, the president of the company, and he'd, take me to lunch at my favorite place, Now that's just totally unacceptable, right? And regardless of the size of the company you are, so we're a medium-sized company, big name, medium-sized company, but our business has, definitely enterprise expectations. So now, an RTO of hours and, or of even minutes and an RPO of seconds, that's what the business expects, and we have to deliver on that. So of course, Zerto is critical to our ability to do that.
At McKesson, where people say we're the largest company no one ever heard of, we basically are $200 billion a year operation, and roughly $250 million a day of product. In a case of our product, it's prescription drugs and medical supplies that need to make it to pharmacies to enable people to live better lives. So we always say it's it's not a package, it's a patience. So basically, there's not a whole lot of tolerance for downtime. We're expected to perform each and every time. Before I joined McKesson, I always wondered why when you go into a CVS or something, you don't see a lot of product on the shelves. That's because every night in the background, McKesson, through our network of distribution centers, is packaging up a bin of just enough product to get there at 4 o'clock in the morning to enable patients to get their prescription drugs. So our RTOs, RPOs are very, very tight, and using technology such as Zerto, where you can rapidly fail over thousands of machines, and has a very low kind of admin on our side from the server point of view because it's hypervisor based. That's really helping us a lot.
Yeah, and for us at Bain, being in financial services, downtime is money, and it's just unacceptable. So, we deal with the stock market, and we need to have our applications up at all times, especially when the market's open. Having that low RPO and even RTO is critical for us. And to take that a step further, we have to comply with quarterly audits, so we'll fail over into bubble tests quarterly, and actually even next month we're going to fail over live a couple of our large applications and run out of our DR data center. Prior to the business day, we'll fail it over, run out of it the full day, and make sure all that data gets back, so we don't have some sort of an accounting nightmare when we do fail back.
Going with what you said about the very tight RPOs, we see a lot of our customers actually switching to use Zerto for what used to be backup cases, use cases, like because of the granularity that Zerto provides you, because of the ability to recover from seconds before whatever happened. Do you guys see this convergence, kind of like using a technology like Zerto, like continuous data protection for your backup use cases? Bill, let's start with you.
Yeah, there's a convergence. You know, when we talk to our CIOs, and we have multiple lines of business that operate with their own presidents and CIOs and CFOs, so they come to us and say, you know, what is not keeping us up at night is that concept of, you know, smoking the whole data center disaster. What they're worried about is a cyber attack, or the last week's operational outage where they were down for a few hours. So they're looking for more bang for their buck when a technology is deployed to protect an application. So they're looking for some operational capabilities. They're looking for longer-term data retention so that they can get clean copies of data back in the event of a cyber attack. So the whole paradigm is shifting. It's not a DR thing. It's more of it's a backup. It's a protection. It's a cyber event. It's a vault of clean data that you can use to bring your business back. So it's much more important in the CIO's eyes.
Yeah, and for us, you know, we're probably, with Zerto at least, more focused on the ransomware effect of it. So we want to be able to take our critical systems and move them back, sort of like a DVR, you know, go back 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it may be. When it comes to converging that into one platform for backup, you know, I would love that. You know, I'd be the first to tell you I don't love our backup solution right now. It's a bit cumbersome. But until, you know, Zerto can get some of that global index search capability and sort of application-aware backups with transaction logs and things like that, if that's on the horizon, you know, we're all for trying it.
Yeah, I think for us, you know, so we used to be an 81-day-a-year destination. You know, now we're 365 days a year, you know, with our mixed-use development. So I definitely, from an IT standpoint, I kind of welcome that convergence, and I think from a business standpoint, they would like it as well, to give them that flexibility. You know, like these guys, you know, cyber attack is probably our #1 concern. And it's not that we haven't invested in the environment to help, you know, protect SunTrust Park and the Battery Atlanta, but, you know, if something does happen, you have to have that ability to do that point-in-time restore. So that's definitely important. The thing I probably am most concerned about when it comes to convergence of, you know, DR and backups would be a little bit more on the legal side. I enjoy the fact now that when it comes to discovery, you know, so my production data and my backups are discoverable, but my DR data is not subject to e-discovery or to discovery in general. So I think the legal department kind of enjoys that, so might get some pushback there.
Great. Let's final question. Let's talk about the cloud for a second. You guys actually represent kind of like 3 different cloud models we have here in Zerto. You're like mostly on-premise thinking about cloud. MSKESSON is all over the cloud. You're on-premise, you're in IBM cloud, you're in Azure. And you guys are actually using one of our the 350 service providers we're using. You guys using iVision, correct?
Correct.
As your cloud. So talk about like how do you see cloud transforming, and what do you see as the future of cloud from your perspective in your company? Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting. So I've been in baseball, 6 years now, and, you know, when my first year talking to my peers out there, there was definitely the mentality of, you know, I got to go in the data center and put my arms around it because that's the only way I'm going to control this stuff. And, you know, I just can't venture out there to the cloud. You can't secure the data out there. It's not stable. You know, you may talk to legal, and they would raise a whole, you know, different set of concerns. But the thing I would tell you, I mean, and I can't see because of the lights here, but if I asked for like a show of hands of how many of you say that you have no data in the cloud in your company, and you raised your hands, everybody out there, whether you know it or not, you have data in the cloud. Your users are putting it out there, whether they're putting in their private cloud, storage, you know, but data is leaving your network and going to the cloud. So you have to have a cloud strategy. You have to control that, because if you don't, that shadow IT, you know, it's going to be out there. So embracing the cloud, you know, I think is definitely very important. We're definitely big on the hybrid model. I don't see us 100% going out to the cloud, but our strategy is definitely anything new that we're doing going forward, we look at cloud first, for, you know, all the obvious reasons of the benefits that the cloud offers. And, you know, I have 18 people in IT, and this is going to blow your mind here. We're the largest IT shop in Major League Baseball with 18 people. So we rely heavily on partners, like you mentioned, iVision. So, partners are really important to us, so they bring that expertise that we don't have. I want my guys working on delivering business value, not on disaster recovery, not on backups, not on managing infrastructure. So having partners that help us is really important. And, the cloud, of course, has a great set of tools that help with that as well.
At McKesson, we kind of are all in on cloud, and there's a hierarchy, if you will, as to how we want to operate over the next 3 to 5 years, and software as a service being at the top of that. We're Office 365, we're Workday, we've got some things in the SAP cloud, so that's the preference, is to have someone run it for us. Beneath that, we're taking our applications that run on-prem today and re-engineering them to run cloud native. And then as we re-engineer them to run within cloud native, we would make them operate in a resilient mode between cloud regions. So that would be our second tier. And then, coming in at sort of at the bottom would be everything else that we would put on infrastructure as a service. But I think, for the future in terms of cloud and resilience, it'll be using the tool sets to build things cloud native that have resilience built in, so there is no sort of concept of a disaster recovery program to make it work.
Yeah, and for us, we are a SaaS first. We have a SaaS first model, so whether it's ServiceNow or Salesforce, we want to have someone else have it be someone else's problem. So we'll look at that first, and then after that, we are entirely on-prem. We're fairly against the lift and shift model because it becomes at a high cost. So what we're trying to do now is get a lot of our developers to code into the cloud, and that will be our transformation over the coming years.
Great. Guys, thank you very, very much. Michael, Bill, Greg, and with that, let's all thank them. Back to you, Ziv.
Thank you, Mike, Bill, Greg. It's always nice to hear our customers are driving IT transformation, driving cloud, and overcoming the complexity. So transformation is happening, and we want to help. For this, I want to make the next announcement here in ZertoCon and announce the Zerto IT Resilience Platform. You don't want point solutions. You don't want these solutions from multiple vendors. You want one platform, simple, scalable, and something that addresses all of your IT resilience needs. This takes everything we have been working on in the past years and what we are continuing to build in the future. Because transformation is happening in different levels. And wherever you are evolving your IT, our IT resilience platform will have you covered. I'm talking about continuous availability for the always-on experience. I'm talking about workload mobility, the ability to protect, recover, and move in hybrid and multiple cloud environments. And I'm talking about keeping your data for an extended amount of time, because we all have compliance regulation. We need this data. Even if we don't use it, we need to keep it. So this is changing the way that disaster recovery, backup, and cloud mobility are going to be used, and really converging all of these multiple solutions into a single converged platform. In the core of the Zerto IT Resilience Platform is our continuous data protection technology that you all have been using. In addition, it has advanced orchestration and automation to be able to move in, out, and between your private, managed, public, and hybrid clouds. It has analytics, so you have the visibility. You have the control across your different sites, your different data centers, and your multiple clouds. Why? Because you need to always meet your SLAs. You don't want separate backup, replication, orchestration, and migration tools. These things have additional complexities, additional costs. You want one solution. the Zerto IT Resilience platform. And simplification and resilience, these are key things to Zerto. And all of the customers and partners here have experienced that over the last few years. So this is something that took a lot of innovation over the last few years. It will take continued innovation. This is not the end of this platform. This is what we're going to be building on over the next few years. And we're doing it to address your needs. And to do that, we need your input. There are many opportunities in this conference to provide feedback. We've got surveys in our booth. We've got surveys in the conference app. And we have many product people here in the show. Many of them wearing the Z Expert solution, but some of them will be wearing suits just with the title, product manager or product owner. Talk to them. Take the time. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear from you because we want to build things that you need. And we want to build it the way that solves your needs. So we're talking about this big convergence here that is coming, convergence of all of these solutions. And to talk on a different aspect of this solution, I want to invite a very close partner of ours, IBM. I'm sure you all know about IBM Resilience Services. They are experts in data protections, in disaster recovery. And to talk to us today, I want to invite Daniel Wiedewin, Vice President of Resiliency Services Portfolio, together with Carolyn Seymour, our Director of Product Marketing.
Thank you, Ziv, and welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
And first of all, I'd just like to say thank you very much for your sponsorship here at this event. So we're thrilled to have you. First of all, let's talk about your role at IBM. I know you've been with IBM for some time, but tell us your role within IBM Resiliency Services.
Sure, and first, let me thank you and Ziv and Gil and the rest of the Zerto team. This is my second Zerto event this year, and they keep getting better, so I'm looking forward to the next one even more. I'm really fortunate that I have responsibility for the IBM Resiliency portfolio. If you don't know what that is, I'll sum it up in relative to this audience in disaster recovery as a service, backup as a service, data migration services, and what Ziv is talking about today, which is a project we've been going on now for about a year, getting really serious, is around cyber resiliency.
Right, and so I know that our partnership started about 2 years ago, and first with IBM Cloud, and we are now the de facto standard for disaster recovery in IBM Cloud. And actually in March this year at your major conference, IBM Think, we announced and extended our partnership with IBM and with Resiliency Services, specifically around the resiliency orchestration solution. And maybe the audience is not as familiar with that particular solution. Could you expand upon that?
Yeah, let me start off with your statement about IBM Cloud. And that relationship, I want to say, started in 2016. So
That's
definitely good adopters of Zerto. You mentioned the de facto standard. We recognize multi-cloud, as has been said multiple times. We recognize hybrid IT. And we know there'll be use cases where one cloud makes sense over another cloud. Today, and you'll hear from Jordan in previous sessions, IBM's cloud capabilities in over 60 data centers has complete hypervisor access. And I think that's important for the hybrid IT estate. So your instance of Zerto on-prem is the same that's in the cloud. What's also really important as clients shift production into the cloud is that we provide that DR and that data replication, whether it's backup or not, to a second cloud data center free. And that's a little like the best kept secret, I think, in the cloud world, because the data cost and the data transfer cost, especially in the amount of data in the enterprise, is very, very significant. So offering that on our secured backbone between pods free is amazing. But and it came up multiple times during the presentations. That's just one piece of the puzzle, right? The real answer is a consistent program across the hybrid IT estate. And you mentioned resiliency orchestration, which is a software acquisition we made just around 18 months ago. And it was mentioned by Ziv that we've integrated that software with the Zerto product, right? And what that allows us to do, and let me just paint the picture. You have a production environment on-prem. You have a production environment in a colo. You have production environment in a cloud, regardless of the cloud provider, using Zerto, let's say. And you need to consistently recover a business process. Well, a business process does not necessarily sit all in the cloud. It could span multiple applications. It could span multiple systems. And we talk about SLAs. And in our world, we talk about business outcomes. So an SLA is a nice financial penalty that clients like to put on providers, and we're happy to put as many as you want in there. But the real impact is your business process, and how do you keep that business process running? So our orchestration software takes the best-of-breed tools like Zerto, maps to a business process or application or even a system if you wanted to, but focuses on that recovery time and recovery point objective of that process, so the entire process. And we map that entire process, knowing what aspects of the process is going to take the longest to recover, but more importantly, when are you not meeting your own business objectives? So we'll know ahead of time that you will not be able to bring a business process up before you click that button to recover.
That's great. And we've just heard about the sort of convergence of the technologies around backup and disaster recovery and cloud mobility. And the need for an IT resilience platform. So what are your thoughts around that convergence?
Yeah, and that was actually a great client discussion around that convergence and the different viewpoints. I will tell you, we have heated discussions inside our offering organization about this convergence because it's technology is driving it, right? You see it from Zerto. You see backup software becoming more recovery-centric, recovery software becoming more backup-centric. So the technology is there. So are we seeing the adoption? And I'll tell you where the discussion is happening is around cyber resiliency for us. And we have this methodology called right of boom. And boom is what happens when a cyber incident occurs. So you can work with our security services organization and do all you need to protect, right? But everyone's saying it's not a matter of if, it's when, and chances are it's actually now and you just don't know about it given how dormant these things are. So that conversation really changes, that right of boom changes how you think about recovery and resiliency in light of the cyber attack. We saw it from all three panelists here, right? And when that discussion occurs, you have to think about how you protect that data. And we saw it, I think, on Ziv's slide, the malicious attacks are targeting your backup environment. They're targeting your DR environment. So that makes that data invalid. So today you have backup data, and for very right legal reasons, you have DR data, and now potentially you have cyber data, right? That's going to be air-gapped. That's going to be isolated from the network. That's going to be validated against clean copies that you know the data so you can actually know when you recover that data that it actually doesn't contain the malware or ransomware or whatever it may contain. That conversation around having that third copy of data is the impetus discussion of, do I really need all three? Yeah. Because if I'm protecting it for cyber, can that cyber be my DR copy? Can that cyber then be my backup copy? In a non-regulated industry, mid-market size client, the answer is probably yes. In the enterprise space, and it was referenced earlier, I'll tell you, we're still seeing it too departmentalized. So you still have a backup team, you still have a DR team, and you have a CISO team doing cyber risk over here. Right. So I think it'll take a while for the enterprise to merge, but certainly the technology is there, and it's going to end up happening sooner rather than later.
Yeah, enterprises will end up.
Yeah.
But it'll be a little bit slower from that. So, from your viewpoint on the IT resilience, what do you see as the sort of the future for that?
So I love the talk track, guys. Yeah. The talk track here is great. It aligns with our talk track. I think John Morrissey from Gartner has got a similar talk track. We take that and we call business resiliency. So in our practice, it's not just the technology, the IT aspect. As I referenced earlier, it's the business process, it's the organizational layer, it's where people work. So we're very much in tune to that talk track around business resiliency. We reference 7 layers of an enterprise, right, starting from like infrastructure, facilities, all the way on up. But I think IT resilience in this context is absolutely spot on.
Thank you, and thank you, Daniel. I think we've run out of time, so I'll say thank you for your sponsorship again and for being here. And I hand back to Ziv.
Thank you, Daniel and Caroline. This is great. And I want to try something because I know that when I talked about the convergence of all of this technology, I'm not a great mind reader, but I will try to guess the one thing that went through everyone's mind. We talk about this IT resilience platform, the convergence, short-term, long-term. And I'm sure that many people here were thinking about backup. When is Zerto doing backup? Is Zerto putting together a backup product? Should we expect this bundling of a backup? And the answer is not exactly, because we are not going to be doing an old school backup. We do not believe that that is the right solution for your needs. We believe in changing the way that backup is done. Because backup, the way backup is done today is simply wrong. I want to share with you a little bit of the Zerto vision of the future of backup. Because periodic snapshots, agents on the virtual machines, these things are not cutting it anymore. You have a continuous business. You have a continuous IT. You need a continuous backup. Saying to someone, sorry, I only have backup from last night, or even just 3 hours ago, it is getting less and less acceptable. Your backup has to be continuous. It's the only way that you can actually answer your customer needs, your business needs in this digital age. You need a continuous journal-based protection for your data. So you can get granular recovery within seconds of any bad event that happens. This is the only way you can have no downtime, no data loss, and no interruptions, because no one likes interruptions. If you need to recover your data from seconds ago because something bad happened now, you can do it. If your legal department gets a discovery request and they need to recover your data from 5 years ago, you can do it. And I'm not talking about this distant vision for Zerto, because we already have customers, many customers here in this audience, that are leveraging Zerto for many backup use cases today. They already use it. Why do they do it? Because it is better. It is the right way. It doesn't matter if you have a corrupted database or if you have an encrypted file server, recovering it in seconds and seconds away from when the bad event happened, it just makes sense. It is the right thing to do. Continuous backup makes everything easier, makes it faster, it makes it more realistic, and it lets you meet today's expectation and remove the limitations so you can meet tomorrow's challenges. This is the only way to build a resilient IT. And I would like to make my last announcement of this keynote and announce to you guys Zerto 7. This is the version that will deliver on the Zerto vision of the future of backup. I'm talking about combining short-term resilience with long-term resilience. And it is not going to be available in 2030. We're talking about Q1 of 2019. And for the people, we're going to change the way that the world does backup and have your data continuously protected and always recoverable. If you need data for 7 seconds or 7 years, all will come in just one platform, Zerto 7. So this is a big vision. It is a big release. And I'm sure that a lot of people want to hear much, much more about what is happening here. And you are going to hear it, just not from me, but tomorrow, Rob Strachey, our Senior Vice President of Product, is going to be talking in depth in his keynote about Zerto 7. So I'm sure everyone will want to listen there. So in the interest of time, I would like to summarize some of these things. The world is going through an amazing transformation. We are delighted to participate in this journey. And we are delighted that you guys chose us to participate in this journey with you. With the Zerto IT Resilience platform, your businesses will be ready to protect, to innovate, and to transform, to be ready for the opportunities and the challenges of the future. So what should you remember? Be resilient, be ready, enjoy ZertoCon, and thank you.